What's up, guys? I'm Taylor,
And I'm Ryan. If you're new to our channel, we're here to help you make the right choice with your money.
and we're not millionaires, we're normal guys with normal jobs. And for the sake of credibility, both of us have college degrees in engineering. We've both been studying investing in finance for a couple years now. My partner Ryan here already has experience in real estate, having purchased a house and everything, and I myself am working towards getting my real estate license at this very moment. So we're just hoping to give you guys some of the knowledge we've learned over the past couple years and that you guys can grow further with us because we aren't going to stop learning and trying new things. So we hope you join us and follow us on our journey to financial freedom.
In this video, we're going to talk about why budgeting is important and what budgeting is exactly. So budgeting is basically the act of giving your money a goal. So you plan ahead, try and predict expenses, and then plan for those expenses and set aside that money in advance. With that, why it's important, you can obviously kind of tell. If you have a lot of expenses coming up and you don't plan for them, they seem very big, they seem very scary. But if you save $100 a month for 12 months, you got $1,200 to set aside for maintenance towards your car versus getting there and getting the $1,200 bill and saying, well, I don't have the money for that. Let's just pull it from checking your savings. So budgeting is very important.
Yeah, and there are countless examples of people like athletes and everyone losing their fortunes after a few years once they, leave sports or whatever, because a lot of them didn't know how to budget, and that just goes to show that you can make a lot of money and have a lot of money, but if you don't know how to allocate those funds properly, chances are you're going to face a lot of financial turmoil in the future.
And if you have been in this space or you've looked into budgeting a little bit, you know Dave Ramsey. Whether you agree or disagree, he has a lot of great resources, and he lays out a very easy to follow plan for budgeting and categories to follow, percentages. We highly recommend, and we'll link some things down in the bio.
Yeah, and we'll actually put up a little illustration somewhere up here on the screen of kind of the percentages and categories he gives to it. And these are just recommendations. Obviously, you can give more to one category or less to one category. There are tons of factors that go into how you make your own budget. I mean, our budgets aren't the same. Lots of factors go into that, he owns this house and is about to get married. I'm single and live in the basement, so we have very different expenses and budgets. But we do recommend having a lot of the categories on this list that Dave Ramsey made. And later in the video, we'll kind of show you a little breakdown of how we made one in Excel and everything, so you guys can kind of see what that's like.
And even if you don't have a category that you don't necessarily have that expense yet, for example, housing, if you live with your parents or any situation like that, you probably won't have to pay rent, and in that case you won't have housing. However, it's still a great idea to set that in your budget and put zero next to it, so in the future it's already set up. It's much easier that than trying to research and figure it out later. Just go ahead and set it up all in advance and make it easy and seamless for you, so it's not, budgeting doesn't become a long drawn out task. It becomes something quick and easy you can knock out.
Alright guys, so we wanted to go ahead and just hop into this example budget that we created, and these are just using generic numbers and everything. So on this left column, and you can break it down to whatever title you want, you can use those kind of categories that we showed earlier in the video, but for specificity's sake and everything, I broke it down into these particular categories. This is what a lot of my expenses are, for example. All these numbers are generic. But you have your net income, any side business income, and then your total. And for the total, here in these green squares right here is all based on kind of a formula based on these two, because anything in a gray box on this screen is an editable block. So let's say, your expected income, you get a raise and it changes that. Everything gets updated accordingly. So that's how that works. And then just here is the time unit. You don't necessarily need to put this in here, but I did because I like to just be able to see everything like that. So you have your expected column, which is what you budget for, what you plan ahead of time for. You'll oftentimes base this on what your average spending is or what you want it to be. I know for me that I knew I was spending a lot on, let's say, fun and everything because, young and everything, going out a lot. It's hard not to spend money sometimes. So I made this lower than what I was actually normally spending in a month. But let's say I wanted to get it down to this number. So this is what I put in for the allotted money for fun. This is my expected. This is my actual. We have our categories, our time units, our expected, our actual, then our percentage of our income. So you can kind of track, where you're spending the most money, percentage wise, like weight wise. The percentage here is just another calculation based on your total actual income and the expense of that time. And for me personally, and what we like to do is some conditional formatting. Like these aren't gray for any particular reason. They're just gray to show that what's editable. This actual spending column becomes a darker red than my allotted or expected total cost if this is more than this. So let's say that my expenses go down somewhere. Now I'm in the light red, which is just an indicator that's either the same or less than this. But if I'm ever spending more, this becomes a darker red, so you can immediately see that, hey, you are spending too much, you need to cut back in some areas. So here, it's easy to do these budgets, especially when you can set it up to where a lot of these are based on equations, and these equations are pretty simple. We can also link this somewhere or post it somewhere if you guys say that you want this as a kind of template to go off of. You can go more detailed than this. I know that some people like to have different columns where they will literally input everything that they have spent money on. Like they'll basically record all their receipts and all their spending and everything, and that will auto kind of populate these regions and everything. They get to get real detailed into it. And later in our next video, we'll just give an example of some of the apps and software that you can use to track some of this stuff. It becomes a lot easier because you can link a lot of these to different bank accounts and things. Of course, if you use cash, that's going to be something you're going to have to usually you just record manually, which isn't hard at all, but it's just something you do have to keep in mind. So we just wanted to give you guys this general outline of budget. Yeah, in our next video, we're going to go into some more detailed tips and everything, show you guys some different apps and softwares that we use personally and recommend. That makes this a whole lot easier. We're just giving you the basics right now, basically breaking down what it is, why it's important, and giving you the basic concepts. So like this video if you learned anything, subscribe if you want more videos like this, and thank you guys for tuning in.
Please leave a comment. Let us know what you think, what you want to know more of, and we'll be sure to get to it. Thanks, guys.